So this is just a fun deck. If any of you see the challenge or quest rather, that's half sage, half good. This is what I came up with, and I've had fun with it. I've also had some wins with it. You're going to see probably some scattered numbers. Now, this also is to check off the have 10 human cards in your deck. So what I've found is when they say have 10 human cards, they want 10 different cards. So that's where there's a lot of ones and stuff that's different from there. So I'll just start at the top. Divine Judgment, 2 count. It's a board clear, but this is a banish. You're going to see a couple cards that are unbanishable. It's a very basic idea, but it plays out, and it's draw 2, so it's fun. Forced Exile, it's a singleton because banish one target, give them 2 humans. So you're probably going to, you don't want to throw it in there because a lot of your guys don't have breakthrough since this is a sage and a good deck. And it draws 2 cards and it counts as a human card, so checks that one off. Gladius is a 3 count. He's unbanishable. Like there's the combo of I want humans, I want board clears that leave my side intact, and I also want half good, half sage. Is he extremely good? I can build out the scenarios where you'll play him after you have a board state. I don't use him usually to establish a board state. I use him to kind of beat through, for lack of a better term. I was going to say breakdown, but because he gives your other good champions +3, it makes the tokens you generate quite fearful. They can instill some damage. High King, 3 count, unbanishable again. Your chances of having 2 good cards in your hand is pretty high if it's in your opener. As the game goes on, you get to like 3 cards. This guy often just becomes kind of fodder, but I have ways of dealing with that. Insurgency. Even what's so funny is even though this is a 1 count, I have played it in every single game that I've had this deck, and I do have lesson learned to get this back. If you're playing this, I'd probably maybe drop one High King and bounce this up to a second one. High King's really good when you start seeing decks that can't deal with High King, but the fact that it's only 1 defense, the fact that it has no protection otherwise other than being unbanishable, so maybe I'd bump my counts up. This is nice because obviously it puts in these unbreakable tokens. You just have to know your timing. There are many times I'll do this at the end of the opponent's turn after they've spent their gold. Now, obviously, I lose the bonus attack, the bonus to attack, but it does give me 4 tokens at the end of the turn. Also noting here, it says your human tokens gain bliss. So let's go back to Gladius. If you have Gladius in play, use Gladius's expend ability, put 3 tokens in play, then play Insurgency. It gives all those tokens that just came in blitz. So it pairs well, but I don't think I want a lot of them because this isn't a true token deck. This really is somewhere in like this mid-rangey with some explosive abilities. Justice Prevails. It's a one of, mostly because it does draw 2 cards. It does draw 1 card, and you get the righteousness for your tokens and your zeros. It's fine, but there are many times where if you're on the attack and your opponent hasn't spent their gold, which a better player isn't going to, they're going to wait for you to spend your gold first. This playing a game of chicken. You'll play this, they'll clear the board, or they'll react with a strafing dragon. It'll do what it's going to do. Are we still going? We're still going. Okay. Martial Law, 1 count. This is actually really good for this deck because you can make humans at the end of their turn. You can also banish, and obviously I have those unbanishable champions. So it's good. It's another human card. So again, the whole point of this deck literally was to have both good and sage split 30-30, and then to have it also qualify as humans. So I ticked off 2 boxes, but it's just been fun. Noble Martyr, unbanishable again. This card is such a perfect fit for the way this deck is built. Because it has Blitz, you can get in this firefight. You can trade all your tokens. They have to spend their 1 to, clear the board on your turn. Let's say I can't even think of one off the top of my head where they have to blow it up and leave. Draka's Rage. There we go. They clear out all your guys. You can put him down, run him right in, and deal 7 points. And if he's in your discard pile, and you'll see that I have many ways to discard cards, you can just get 5 tokens at the end of their turn, and that includes stuff like, where are we? Martial Law, so I can just get extra tokens. Cycle Prevail Justice for draw 2 cards, get 5 more tokens. So Noble Martyr fits this deck really, really good. I'm very happy with him. Royal Escort as a 3 count. This might not look it. I will argue this is the linchpin of the deck. It seems very weird to say, but when I explain the rest of the cards, you're going to see that keeping your other champions untargetable means, and with a rear of 9, the only way that they can deal with this for 0 is to basically bounce it. And if they're playing Vanishing, it has to happen on their turn. So they have the timing windows are there. Gaining 3 health. There were a couple times I've gotten 6, 9 health off this. I don't usually use it for the health gain, but at the same time, you'll see the cards when I bring them up. Secret Legion 1 count. It's another. It generates humans. It gives all your human champions gain blitz. So if you had other tokens, it's kind of annoying that it gives all your champions blitz. I mean, the only way to really abuse that is with what? Oh, the Angel, is it Angel Mercy? Where are you? Yeah, Angel Mercy. If it were to bring back one of your humans, but you're not going to do that. However, we're going to put this on here. So Secret Legion. Now we're gonna do the timing window. When you play Secret Legion, Noble Martyr, you bring those tokens back in, give them all blitz. Same thing with the card's literally right there. Insurgency. There we go. So you can actually get an army out of nowhere. It's a little vulnerable, but Standard Bearer 1 count. It's a human. It makes human tokens. It does give a boost to the front. It has ambush. Is it the greatest card in Constructed? Not really. Like I said, this deck was meant to have 10 humans, but because of how many one-ofs are in this deck, the term for your opponent would be it's unpredictable for your opponent. For you, it just makes you adjust. They can't predict what's going to happen in your deck. They don't know how many standard bearers you have. They don't know how many insurgencies you have. So if they see one insurgency, they might be like, oh, we have to prepare for another one. And you don't have another one. People's Champion, 1 count. Unbanishable. Okay, all those things are good, but I really like having the Noble Martyr's Blitz on that one. So it is what it is. Paros as a 3 count. The big thing here, obviously, is that Paros is a 0, and as such, it will get the bonus off Justice Prevails if need be. It can keep slowly making, more human tokens. It giving the bonus to the front is nice. It's what's nice there is that it's human champions, it's not human tokens. So there'll be times that your martyr becomes an 8/4, stuff like that. Revolt as a 3 count. Now, it might be like, oh, duh, you're running a bunch of tokens. Why wouldn't you run this? This card is actually used for its versatility. Now, that seems like a very dumb thing to say, but I'm literally going to spell it out. The fact is, obviously, it gives all your good champions +2 in the front, and you get a token out of this for 0, which is good. So you effectively get 3/1 if you have nothing else. I picked it over some of the other cards because you can pay to draw 2. And in a deck like this, that's where, let's bring up Insurgency. So, not People's Champion. Secret Legion, for example. Secret Legion, it can be used as a draw 2. Okay, it can put 6 tokens in play. Like neither one of those is really where it would be martial law. The biggest problem with martial law is it doesn't have that draw option. So that's why for Revolt, I have that as a 3 counts because I want to stay in cards. And this deck can very easily run out of cards very quickly doing some trades. Second Wind, probably my favorite 0 good card. It's why I run 5 of them. That little bit of life gain when you're fighting is good. Ancient Chant, mostly this is in there, obviously staying cards, but if you have to discard, I've been seeing an uptick in Thought Pluckers and Knights of Dusk and or is it Knight of Shadow? Anyway, the discard knight. I've been seeing an uptick in discard, so these are mostly there to be pitched. Deadly Raid, you're running a token deck, and it can draw 2 cards. If you have one of these in your opener, unless you can set up a giant token army on their turn and then follow it with a Deadly Raid, many times I'll cycle the first one I see for 2 cards unless I know I have a kill shot, but it's pretty good. Erase, playing the tempo game. Because you can generate tokens with your zeros like Paros and such, you still can keep your gold open, and if they have to respond, they play their Strafing Dragon, which obviously I know that's not the greatest example. Let's say Draka then. They pay their gold, you bounce it back. Now, of course, Draka's still going to go in and 3 and smash your guys, but they're not going to hit you for 9. Force Field, one of. It's mostly there for like weird mirror match situations. I'm seeing because the good Sage decks are in the challenge, so are good wild decks. So you'll see a prevalence of humans. Maybe you see the zombie quest coming up. So it's nice to be there. The fact that two of the three options will get you, 1 to 2 cards. If you absolutely need it, you can shrink down their whole team if their team has been, increased by so many anthems, or if you're just being attacked by some giant, force. The biggest thing here, the nod, is that force field is a great clicked off it, sorry. Force field is a great answer to deadly raid from your opponent. So they go deadly raid, they're coming in for like 60 or whatever. This can help keep you alive. This can take the sting off that. Frost Giant, one of, I somehow have seen this in every game. I don't know why. He's one of the ones where I talk about with oh sorry, my brain's just not working today. With Royal Escort. Because in playing your Frost Giant, he is probably going to be the biggest one that you control on the battlefield. So you want the 8 that he's going to provide to swing in. So that keeps them from shutting down your Frost Giant. They can't just, tap them or bounce them or anything like that. The big thing here is obviously, you don't see breakthrough. And if you're spending your gold on him, you're not getting the extra punch off your team. This is more just making an opening. That's what it's a one of. Lesson learned, 3 count. You have so many events in this deck. I think once I've cycled 1 for 2. I think that was after an amnesia. Other than that, this very often, you have so many one-ofs you want to get back. You want to, even paying 1 gold to get a revolt back is not good gold efficiency-wise, but that could be a lethal shot. And with the deadly raids and the revolts, as well as, say, Justice Prevails, if you cycle Justice Prevails early and you can replay it at a more timely fashion, that works fine too. Memory Spirit 2 count, same thing. Because of how many human token generators are events in this deck, that's mostly it. It's to get back that Insurgency, get back that Deadly Raid, and put down a 5/4, Airborne's fine. I know you're running a token deck with War Machine. Again, this is for Mirror Match Tech. The number of times I've had this played, because I'm seeing these decks with Shadow Imps, I'm seeing these decks because they'll play Shadow Imp out of desperation. They've already paid their gold. You come in with some stuff. If your gold's still open, if they make a dumb play and they have to use their Shadow Imp to come in and block, if it's still in play, take it out. It takes out Force Mage Apprentice. It takes out a lot of oomph. And this deck really looks for big, lethal, fast swings. And the fact that this thing can randomly have Blitz, okay, it's fine. Here, of course, here's the combo card, Wave of Transformation. Now, Wave of Transformation is much less devastating in this deck because you're actually upgrading your humans. The only thing that you're losing with this Wave of Transformation is that they're losing their good status, so Revolt doesn't work with this. Deadly Raid still works with this. You can then fire off, if you do Wave of Transformation on their turn, fire off next turn with War Machine, works out pretty good. Amnesia 2 count. I just, because it's only half Sage, I don't have the slots to really be fighting. And there'll be many times where this will just be an extra card, or it'll be used as a 1 gold draw too. Don't be afraid to cycle these early if you're seeing your opponent does not have a lot of stuff to recall. So, don't be afraid of, don't be afraid that it is only a 2 count. You'll know when you need to use it. Less and less decks are becoming reliant on the discard pile right now. So use it when you need it. Cycle it early. If your opponent's going first and you don't have anything to do on their turn, grab 2 cards, just get more options in hand. Arcane Research, this is such a good card in this deck, just because I know you can read. Because it's 0, you empty out all but the one event you want. You don't care about the champions in your discard unless you're expecting your opponent to be playing Zombie Apocalypse. There we go. If you're not expecting to play Zombie Apocalypse, you can clear out your champions, and that might actually help because you don't want them stealing your Frost Titan. Frantic Digging. This is the card I was alluding to earlier. This card is so good because it helps you either get rid of those one-ofs you don't want. It helps you find those one-ofs when you do need them. It has combo with... Where are we? It has combo with... Where are you? Noble Martyr. You can pitch this. Obviously, don't recycle it. But you can pitch this at the end of their turn. You still have your 1 gold open. And then you can play, a draw 2. That's good, and get your Noble Martyr to trigger. And obviously it works really well with Ancient Chant. This time you do want to recycle the Ancient Chant, get more cards out of the deal. Obviously, just making sure you do it on your opponent's turn. And finally, 2 Vanishing. Versus Hasty Retreat, I'm more concerned about their blockers than I am them coming in and smashing me. This deck has the ability to really put people on their toes. Um, I don't know how else to phrase it. This is usually the aggressive deck. If it feels like you're being pushed back, board wipe, put out some humans at the end of turn, stuff like that. You can tell that this is not a very, very refined deck. What I enjoy the most about it is obviously, yes, it gets 2 quests at the same time, the humans and the good sage combo. But I'm running a little bit of everything. I do have discard hate. I do have a few board wipes that have 2 modes to them. While I run Insurgency, I don't run 3 of them. I'm not sitting there going, "Oh, Insurgency is the worst card ever" versus good, Sage Wild. You're only running 1, and if you get it off, you get it off. Most of the standout cards in this deck are the zeros. You have Revolt. Well, also you guys have Deadly Raid, but you have Revolt, you have Frantic Digging to set up so many things. It's just a fun deck. I am by no means saying that this thing's going to win a tournament, but if you're looking for a deck to qualify, what I have found is because of the number of board wipes in here that are banishing board wipes, so they're not as good, say Thundaris, but it'll clear out everything not named Thundaris on their side. It runs a few unbanishable champions. It between Wave of Transformation, which obviously handles all champions, period. There's nothing that can't be transformed. It has answers to most of the problems. Now it doesn't have a ton of answers, so sometimes you gotta sit there with 1 card in hand. And as far as cards to discard to say if you get hit by a Thought Plucker, you have your Ancient Chant, you have your Noble Martyr. I mean, they could inadvertently be spelling their own doom. They hit you, on their attack with their Thought Plucker. You drop this guy out, you play a 1 gold, spell at the end of their turn, make an army in a can. If they pass back to you and you say have Deadly Raid or Revolt, you might win, and they might have actually accelerated that. So, it is what it is. I'm not going to... I could bring up my gameplay. This is the deck where I have a quick little 20-second clip. I was able to attack for a 115 point, Deadly Raid. This is the deck that did it. This is the exact list. I changed nothing. It simply was I had Gladius, I had 1 Gladius, I had 1 Paros, the Deadly Raid. Obviously, I'm not sure if I had a Revolt or not, but I mean like I just had a bajillion human tokens, and they each were attacking for like 5+ unblockable, and that was it. This one can set up because of how wide it goes. Now, of course, this means you are in deep poodoo with Plague, because Plague on your turn, they can still deal the 1 damage. You are going to have problems with, what's that card? Raxa's Enforcer, or Raxa himself. I mean, that can just come down and wipe out your team. You just have to show a little bit of conservation. Once they spend the gold on their turn, all bets are off. You can put them on their heels. And it has, a little bit of life gain. Most of the second wins, but you do have you do have Royal Escort also, and you do have the 1 Justice Prevails. Do not rely on Justice Prevails to dig you out of a hole. I'm going to tell you that now. It really would be the Royal Escort and the second wind. But have fun with it. Make some fine tunes to it. You can see that I'm technically not totally efficient because I have 21 good as a 21 1 gold good, as opposed to 20 and 10. I could throw in another random 0. I'm just looking right here. There weren't any other zeros that I was really in love with. Like I'm looking, and it could be Courageous Soul. If you're going to say Rally the People, no. The answer is simply no. This is too slow. It uses your gold very inefficiently. Just giving your whole team +1, okay, but Revolt does it so much bigger because it adds 1 token. I know that seems very pedantic, but when you realize that token's getting boosted by Gladius, by Paros, by what's his name, Standard Bearer, and that's simply it. There just weren't any other zeros I was in love with for this deck. So can you make it more efficient? You could. Maybe a Brave Squire, but at the same time, this deck has very few. The big thing here is if you have Brave Squire, that is a nombo or a non-combo with Royal Escort. you can't target your guys either. So that's why there's not a lot of targeted boosts. It's big anthem effects, which are wide spreading, untargeted, gains. So it again, this was a fun deck. I would not normally be reporting on something like this, but I've got some good victories. I've got fast ones. I attacked for 19 on turn 1 because I had Insurgency and Revolt in my hand. I was like, boom, boom. And they put down one blocker. I bounced with a Vanishing. This was just a great opening start. And they took 19. They were down to 10 on turn 1. I'm like, all right. And then I just had to, get the final 10 there. So it also has very little answers pinpoint. What was my only pinpoint is come on, cycle. I've that one forced exile. I think everything. I think all my other answers are just clear the board. Oh, erase. Sorry, I've erased. Yeah, so this one doesn't have a lot of pinpoint. It's not a very meta deck. It's just designed to be a very blunt instrument, but it does have some mirror match deck. So as you can see, I don't have a name for this. I'll figure one out. So until next time.